So how do you define your minimal facts approach?
Real briefly, I do a minimal facts argument, which I'll just define briefly now and do some other time. I use facts, which I sometimes call, another name for minimal facts is lowest common denominator. And by that I mean, I'm going to use the data which skeptics, atheists, agnostic New Testament scholars, or Jewish, non-Christian New Testament scholars use. So Rudolf Bultmann, very skeptical. Bart Ehrman, atheist New Testament scholar. Gerrit Ludemann, I understand he's an atheist New Testament scholar. Jesus Seminar member for Ludemann. Two Jewish scholars, Geza Vermesh, Pinchas Lapid. Strangely enough, Pinchas Lapid, the latter, is Jewish, and he believes the resurrection happened. So what I do with minimal facts, I use their data. Let's say, well, let's use the Jesus Seminar. They reject, depending on, they give levels of assurance. They reject 80 to 90% of the red letter words of Jesus in the Gospels. Could we take only 10 to 20% of the red letter words of Jesus and make a case for what he taught? I think so. But with the resurrection, I use these critics' data, and very critical people, very critical. As far as you can go to the left, but you have to be a scholar. I don't just ask people on the street, or this guy's a mathematician, what do you think about Jesus? You have to be a specialist in the field. I don't ask a historian what he thinks about math. So, and I use their data, and I can get to the conclusion. One last thing about the minimal facts. I have two criteria. Okay, I already said I'm only going to use facts which the strongest critics, many non-Christians, all skeptics, I'm going to use facts which they allow. But let me just give a quick qualification. Here's the two things I look for. Even if a critic gives it to me, I won't use it unless every fact, if you can picture a fact, I won't use it unless there are several evidences for each fact. For example, I'm going to say sooner or later that there's over 20 critical evidences for the empty tomb. There's over 30 critical reasons to believe the disciples had experiences that they believe were appearances of the risen Jesus. So it's not just that critics allow, virtually every critic thinks the disciples thought they saw the risen Jesus. Well, why? First reason, because there's about 30 reasons that back that up. Secondly, because every guy writing, every skeptic, scholar now, allows it. Now, I do want to say, the second one is less important. If someday we wake up and the skeptics go, yeah, Habermas is doing too much stuff here, and this is getting too close for comfort, I don't think anybody's going to say that. But if somebody said, yeah, I can't admit this anymore, and all of a sudden they don't admit it, you still have the first point, which is by far the most important, which is, here's this fact, and 20 or 30 or 5 or 10 reasons for that fact. So that's what I do with minimal facts. I'll use their data because A, more importantly, the facts are so good, and B, because the critics accept it.